Hey everybody, this is Dr. Adair. How you guys doing? I didn't let anybody know that I was jumping on, but I've been thinking about doing this broadcast. I want to say since yesterday or the day before, when I first started doing Periscope, and would open it up and get a lot of questions from individuals about writing their books. What should they do? How should they do it? The steps they should take. And one of the things that I've heard so much in more ways than one is the actual, there's fear that's involved. I want to see, yesterday I couldn't see, there we are, hugs and kisses. Hey, hugs and kisses, thanks for joining. That's better. Yesterday I couldn't see who was online, so I was a little bit thrown off, but then afterwards it said I had a lot of people on there, but I couldn't see you guys. But hopefully I'm able to see your name as it pops up or your address. But send me some love, send me some hearts. I see a few of you on there, but I don't see any love and any hearts yet. I know I haven't said much, but let a sister know that you care. But anyway, thank you. Anyway, so what's been weighing heavily on my heart is to share with you one of the number one reasons why people don't get their books done. People don't follow their dreams. People don't follow through in life. People just don't do what they're supposed to do for themselves, what's in their purpose. And that's fear. So today I'm taking a little bit of a different route in speaking to you guys. You know, not everybody on is an author or aspiring author. So I want to kind of give you some words of inspiration and motivation. Anybody who knows me or familiar with me know I've written 7 books. One will be released on next week. And I'll start doing the promos for that, but that's not what this Periscope is about. But my books are motivational, inspirational messages. In my first and second book, I give my testimony about, leaning on my triple shields of grace, faith, and mercy. So it's not new to me to talk about and motivate individuals, but it's new to me to do it on Periscope. But I felt like I needed to share that. I've been sharing tips on, what I share tips on. I've done maybe 4 or 5 Periscopes, how to get through writer's block, how to reach your target audience, how to self-publish. I've done those types already, but this is the one I really want to focus on today, and that is letting your faith be stronger than your fear. And I'm not preaching, I can't quote scripture, but it's a main reason why many people don't fulfill their dreams, why many people stay stuck in the same place from year to year to year, just talking about their dreams. How many of you have had a dream for years that you want to fulfill, but you're stuck in getting there? Go ahead and put it up on the screen. Just say me. Raise your hand and say me. If you're one who's had this dream that you're stuck because you're not sure which way to go. Okay, I know there are people out here who have that because I hear it every day. I always get the question, thank you. I don't have my glasses on. Rochelle, thank you for being the first one to raise your hand. Thank you, Miss Smith is the last, Miss Wordsmith. Thank you so much. Because I know for me, that was where I was for a while, not really stuck, but not working as fast as I wanted and I needed to work. People ask me all the time, well, Dr. Adair, how do you do it? How do you balance it all? How did you get to where you are? Because they see the end product. They don't recognize and understand the process that went through it. So I want to share with you a little bit today of my testimony, just to show you that if you let your faith be stronger than your fear, then you don't have to worry, because everything will fall in place in its own time. And I wrote some notes to stay on point. So this goes beyond authors, but I do know that we spend so much time being afraid of everything, afraid to try new things. We are more comfortable. We are more comfortable living in, we'd rather live in an comfortable hell than strive to live in an uncomfortable heaven. A friend of mine told me that several years back, and I've kind of held that to my heart. Matter of fact, I included that quote in my latest book, that we would rather live in a comfortable hell than strive to be in an uncomfortable heaven. That's because we're afraid. We're afraid to take that next step. And what I want to say to you is that you've got to stop being afraid. You have to be able to walk outside, think outside the box, walk outside those lines, and recognize and understand understand that if you put all this fear aside, then you can achieve those dreams. Stop leaning on fear as the excuse why you don't get things done. Learn that faith is the reason why you should try to get things done. And some say, well, how do you just lean? I can't see it, touch it, feel it, hear it. How do you know, what faith can do for you? Well, that's coming from within you. That's listening to God, what he has to say to you, what you should have, would have, could have been doing, but you're just not. I don't always, I've always been a child of God, and I've always heard God, but I haven't always listened to what he had to say because I would question it. And that's doubting your faith. I would let that fear, God is telling me to do this, and I turn around and do that. Which means I'm not leaning on my shield of faith, because my shield of faith would tell me God knows what he's doing, and he's going to walk beside me at all times, and I don't have to worry. I don't have to turn around. Yesterday morning, I woke up, and I love to write, but I haven't been writing the way that I usually do because I've been busy with this building my business, getting ready to launch a book. I have lots of clients and so on. And yesterday morning, I woke up, and God spoke to me and said, I'm going to need you to write today. And he put the topic in my head and said, somebody needs to hear what you have to say today. And I wrote about it. And it's on my fan page, Dr. Adair White Johnson, on Facebook, if you follow me. And am I able to change people? I can teach people to change themselves. You own the power of change, so you have to use that power. I can work with people to change themselves, but I can't change people, because if I did, I'd be a magician and I'd be a millionaire at this point. But someone asked what type of doctor I am. I have a PhD in the sociology of education. I'm a retired school counselor. I work with kids for 26 years, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a minute. But I've been counseling people, I guess, all my life, if you want to say that. Adults and youth. I work with at-risk youth for many years. But what I was saying is that you need to, instead of using fear as the excuse why you don't do something, you need to lean on your faith as the reason why you should do it. Knowing that everything is going to be all right, and really trusting and believing that God has your back will allow you to get over that hump, will allow you to put any sense of feeling uncomfortable to the side so that you can do it. For example, those of you who are aspiring authors, I hear all the time, I don't know how to get started, or if I get started, what is everybody going to say? Especially those of you who are non-fictional writers who are writing about your stories. You're afraid to speak your truth, because many of you are afraid of what other people are going to think about you, about the decisions and the choices you made, and how it may impact their lives. So you stop writing, or you get stuck and you call it writer's block, when really it's not writer's block. It's your fear of writing and speaking the truth. And so if you leaned on your shield of faith, then your truth will set you free. I know you've heard that before. And then you'll know that everything's going to be all right. The first book that I wrote, it was hard. And people ask me all the time, well, how are you able to share all of that in the book? Was it cathartic for you? Yes and no, because it'd been so long. I had been through that stuff already. I was good. I had come to terms and grips with my past, and I'll tell you a little bit about that in a minute. But I was not afraid. I was not afraid. Writer's block, live from the pit of hell. Well, my mastermind mentor says that you don't have talker's block, so why should you have writer's block? I'm kind of on the fence, because I get it when we feel stuck, but I'm not one to define it as writer's block. I often think it's everything else that's going on in your life that's stopping you from writing. And it's not because you don't have the thoughts, the ideas, the feelings, and emotions to write. It's just that everything else around you is preventing you from writing. So with that, you have to silence the noise in order to begin writing. So I wouldn't necessarily call it writer's block, but something is making you stuck. So I'm going to say, number one, stop leaning on fear as the excuse as to why you don't get it done. Start to use faith as the reason you will get it done. Next, I'm going to say, and I mentioned this before, people ask me all the time, how do you do it? How is that you have come from point A to point Z, if that makes sense, point 1 to point 100. And let me tell you something. I can't let fear rule my life, because I clearly understand from a young child that God must have been on my side to allow me to go through what I've been through. I could have let fear take me down when I lived with a mom who used to beat me with belt buckles and broomsticks. She used to own a liquor store, and I used to go in the back room. If I didn't do what I was supposed to do, this is what I got beaten with. And this was called, now it's called child abuse, but back then it was called discipline. Even though I had the whelps and the buckles and all that, I think she did more psychological damage at that time and emotional than physical damage. If fear were to be my friend at that time, then I wouldn't be where I am today. On top of that, if I allowed fear to let me continue, to take over me, because my mother was an alcoholic. She actually died at the age when I was 14 years old and she was 36 years old from alcoholism. It's called cirrhosis of the liver. If I had allowed fear to stop me from following my dream, I would still be in the same place. See, because statistically speaking, I'm not supposed to be sitting here in front of you having graduated high school at the age of 16, college at the age of 20. I had my master's degree at 21 years old, and I was finished my doctorate with my children by the end of my 20s. I did all of that in spite of everything that happened to me, because I recognized and understood that just because I went through stuff didn't mean I was special. I was special for so many other reasons. And one of those reasons I was special because I had faith. And I knew that since God ordered my steps, there's got to be another way. Now, I'm not saying that I'm walking like I wasn't ever afraid. We all have those emotions. Those are natural emotions. But I didn't let it dictate my life. I didn't let it determine my destiny, or I didn't let it determine my dreams. You gotta let fear, don't let fear be stronger than your faith. We're going to have fear, but it doesn't have the right to be stronger than your faith. So if you're going to be afraid, know that still, I'm afraid now, but tomorrow is just a day away. I'm going to get over it, I'm going to get through it, and I'm going to keep it moving. So one of the things I'm going to say is that don't let fear be stronger than your faith. And for me, the other examples, I'm reading through my notes, making sure I get everything. Other examples in telling my story to others, and I don't share this a lot, but it's in the book. I've been sexually assaulted, not once, but twice in my life. Now, if I let fear take over, then I would still be beneath the ground. I wouldn't be that foot soldier emerging through the trenches. I've been married 25 years. One of those sexual assaults happened while I was married, okay? I could have given up, I could have broken down, but I'm still standing. Because I knew, even though this I didn't think was supposed to happen to me, I didn't understand why it was happening to me, I knew that somehow, in some way, I was going to get through it because I leaned on my shield of faith. You gotta do that to get through it. You gotta do that to pick up that pen to start writing or typing on your computer that story you want to tell as an author, or if you want to be an entrepreneur. You can't be afraid of yourself. You can't be afraid of your dreams just because stuff happened to you. Stuff happens to everybody. Get over it. You're not special because of it. So don't get sucked into that being an excuse why you can't get things done. When I was diagnosed with lupus at the age of 20 in college, fear could have snuck in and stayed there because I deal with it every day. I went to the doctor yesterday and realized that I had a virus. Didn't know I had a virus, thought I had a cold sore, then a rash, and she explained to me my immune system was compromised when I went to Dallas on the plane a couple of weeks ago. So those planes can be really, really nasty. Watch out for that. Between the planes and the hotels and the airports, I picked up some little nasty virus that became more than what it needed to be because of my lupus. But when I was diagnosed, when I was so sick that fall semester of my senior year of college, I didn't know what was wrong with me. I found out I had lupus in January 1987. The fear of living with lupus could have succumbed my heart and soul at that time. I could have really believed my life is over. There's nothing else I can do with my life. But no, I couldn't, because my faith dictated to me, you have more to do. I had to work a dream to live a dream. I knew then that dreams don't come with a warranty or guarantee. So I had to get up, get over it, get through it, and keep it moving in order to achieve my dream. So I understand, I recognize when we're afraid to do things, but you can't get paralyzed by that. Because if you let fear paralyze your faith, you will never walk again. And you don't want that to happen. You don't want that to happen. Y'all like what I'm saying? Show me some love. Who's on my scope? Show me some love, something if you like what I'm saying. I also had fear when I wrote my first book, but I knew I was speaking from my heart, so I didn't let that paralyze me. When I walked away, 26 years as a school counselor. I have 4 more years, only 4 more years to go before I retire. I walked away from my 6-figure income because I no longer had the passion for it. It's not that I didn't like the kids. I still love the kids. I have a whole teen curriculum. I work with kids with different things that I do. I love teens, but it wasn't what I wanted to do anymore. So I stepped out on faith, knowing that my first book, it didn't blow up or anything. My first book, I knew was going to lead me to the rest of my dreams. And here I am sitting here today. This is a part of that dream. So walking away from the 6-figure income, the stability and all of that stuff, knowing that I have 5 kids, 4 upon who are still depending upon us, I knew all of that. But I couldn't let fear paralyze my dream. I knew I wanted more. And that was the time that I knew that I had to go. Now, I didn't just walk away, like crazy or anything. I do have, some retirement benefits and all of that. But nonetheless, it wasn't enough. The fear wasn't strong enough to make me stay those last 4 years. I'm going to say to you that you can't let your fear dictate and determine what you do in your life. We all have fear, but it can't be stronger than your faith. Too many of you are afraid to dream, afraid to live, and to just be. Some of you are even afraid to listen to the word of God, to listen when God is speaking to you and telling you what it is you need to do, what steps you need to take. You question God because your fear is making you do that. If you lean in on those shields of grace, faith, and mercy, then you will know that your fear is not stronger than your pain. Thank you, Ms. Smith, for inviting others. I forgot to tell you guys that. Go ahead and click the little man on the right side of your screen and invite others. I only have a few more minutes, but they can at least get the replay. Thank you so much for that, because I'm hoping what I'm saying to you is making sense. Let me see some love. Thank you for the hearts, but comment. Let me know. Is this making sense to you? Are you feeling what I'm saying to you? Because we all go through it. And that's why I say you're not special because you're feeling fear in whatever it is you're trying to do, whether it's a relationship you're trying to do, whether you're being an entrepreneur and things are not working out the way you want it to work out, whether it's writing your book and you feel stuck and you're afraid, what is my next step? Because we all know a confused mind does nothing. So we need to get clarity. But don't let the fear stump you. Don't let the fear stop you. Don't let the fear become strong. Am I still there? I'm sorry, my phone rang. I had to decline that. I don't know how to turn off your phone when you're doing a Periscope. I have to learn that. Okay, the next thing is that you have to trust and believe in what you do. Even if you're doing it all wrong, have the faith that you've given it everything. You're welcome, Big Daddy. Even if you're doing something wrong, trust and believe that you have the capacity to learn how to do it right. But you have to allow yourself to learn how to do it right. Sometimes we walk away because we didn't get it right the first time or the second time or the third time. We didn't get it right, so we give up. You can't do that. That's fear, because you have a fear of failure. You can't let your fear of failure be stronger than your faith and your success. You have to keep trying. You have to trust and believe in the God-given talents that you have inside of you in order to know that it's going to be all right. I hope I am speaking to you. I don't have my glasses on, but I hope I am speaking to you, because this is how I've been feeling the past couple of days, listening and to other Periscopes, seeing comments, getting yes, faith and fear do not mix. Faith and fear do not mix at all. No, they don't. And that's what this scope is all about. Letting your faith be stronger than your fear. I'm saying to you, I get it. I've been in many situations that I should have been afraid. I think about my son. I have 4 sons. One is 15 years old. When that get my glasses, that's way funny. They way in the car, girl. So, okay. Thank you for making me laugh. But I want to tell you this. I could have been afraid. Oh, God, I'm sorry. I could have been totally just blown away with my son, who's 15 years old now. He was diagnosed with autism when he was 3 years old. Now, that's before it is a boom the way it is now, where 1 in, 64 kids. Back then, it was 1 in every, 500 kids. I didn't know what to do. What am I supposed to do with this kid with autism? What? No one prepared me for that. I had waited 9 years for my second child. Because of my lupus, we couldn't have another child. That's another thing I could have been fearful of. When I thought I couldn't have another child. And that's a whole nother testimony. But when we got pregnant with John, we didn't do in vitro, the regular old way, that I knew that, okay, he's a blessing. His name, Jaja, means God's gift. Let me fast forward to fear. I was afraid when I had him, but I knew somehow I was special because God gave him to me. He gave him to me to raise and to be who he is today. Today, that same 15-year-old boy just went and got his learner's permit today. Got 100 on one part of the test. He's autistic. He's Asperger's, high functioning, but nonetheless, if I was so afraid that it paralyzed me and what I do for him back then, he wouldn't be having his learner's permit today. So sometimes you can't see it, you can't feel it, you can't touch it, you can't hear it, but it's there. It's in you. You have to trust and believe. If you want to write a book, write the book. Stop coming up with 550 million reasons why you can't write. Oh, I don't have the time. Well, baby, set a schedule, write a paragraph a day, write a page a day. And then you know that, yes, we empowered him. You write a page a day, then you know 120 days you'll have a book. If you can only write one page a week, then you know in 120 weeks you'll have a book. So don't tell me you don't have the time, the energy, or the effort to write a book. Don't tell me you don't even have the skill set to write a book. Because if you want to write a book, there are different services you can get. You can record it, you can transcribe it, you can have it edited. I know I've written 7 books. Now, I feel like I'm blessed with the talent of writing, but I also teach others. I'm a graduate school professor. I help people write dissertations. And sometimes I don't know why they're in the program, but that's their dream, and it makes more work for me. But if they can do it, you can do it too. So if your dream is to write a book, write the book. Stop letting fear come up with all these excuses, for what you coulda, woulda, shoulda but you don't. Make time for the things you want to do. Yes, you have to make time, but you also have to believe in it. So trust and believe. If you're an entrepreneur and you have this little business on the side and you want to take it to the next level, do what you need to do to take it to the next level. I mean, you're going to have to, sometimes the hindrance is money and funding, but even with that, there's still a lot that's free. There's a lot that you have to pay for and a lot that's free. Thank you for the hearts. Keep them coming. I just want you to know, and I'm going to go ahead and I've gotten a lot of what I wanted to say out, but I want you guys to know you are already equipped and empowered. You're already motivated and mesmerized. You're promised and you're prepared. You're intelligent and you're inspired. And yes, you rock the sky. You can't let your fear paralyze your faith because you'll never walk again. Don't let difficulties determine your destiny, or don't let those same difficulties destroy your dreams. It's not necessary. If you have, I always learn, like I said, I can't quote scripture, but I always learn that if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, it can move mountains. It can make the difference. I am walking, living proof of that. Now, I think my faith is larger, than a mustard seed at this point, because that's all I got. At the end of the day, that's all I have. Even my children that God has given to me, they're just on borrowed time because they belong to him. I'm just taking care of them while they're here on earth. I have a wonderful husband for 25 years, but at the end of the day, my faith lives within me. It's what I think about when I wake up. It's what I think about when I go to sleep. Know that your faith allows you to push through the pain. I've given you tidbits of my testimony. My faith has allowed me to push through the pain. Know that you can be, yes, faith is heaven's currency. Yes, it is, definitely. Know that you can be that foot soldier emerging through the trenches if you have faith. Let your faith be your weapon of mass destruction because it will knock it down. I look 25. Oh, thank you. Been married 25 years next month, but thank you so much. Let your faith be your weapon of mass destruction to help you fight those battles. You are a soldier. You are a warrior. If you have faith on your side, then it's going to work out. Know that things may turn out exactly the way you want it. But know that you're not walking on that path alone because God orders your steps and you're on that path for a reason. Know that black don't crack. That's funny. Yeah. No, that's what my name means. I need to figure out how to turn off my phone while I'm doing this. But anyway, so if you have to be afraid, one last thought. If you have to be afraid, please be afraid of the things that you can't control. Your dreams are something you can control because you can work a dream to live a dream. That's something you can control. For me, I allowed myself to be afraid when my beloved daddy was dying because I didn't know how to live life without him. It was the fear of the unknown for me. So there are things you can allow yourself to be afraid of, but know that somehow faith is going to get you through it. There are times I still can't talk about my dad because it's so hurtful and so painful, but I rely on that faith that tomorrow is another day. Tomorrow is a day away. So if I can get through today, tomorrow has something else for me. Don't be afraid of those dreams. Now, I know I said those are my last comments. Don't be associated with fear. Even if you think that you are just ordinary, be extraordinary about it because your faith allows you to do so. Know that you need to get rid of all those negative, toxic things that are around you that cause you to be afraid, like people and things who don't believe in your dreams and don't believe in your abilities and don't believe you can get it done. You don't need them around you because they just kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Push into they fill up the fear bucket. They fill it up. And it doesn't have to all come from one person because as we know, every drop eventually fills the bucket. So every time a different person says something negative to you, they then will fill up that bucket of fear for you. Oh, you don't need any buckets around you. Get rid of it. Any negative toxins, get it from around you. And that means some relationships. Some relationships you have to walk away from. I'm going to say to you what I say to many. Just because you walk away from something doesn't mean you've given up. It just means you've made a choice. And sometimes that's what you have to do. Walk away from those negative situations that may contribute to the fear in your life and stop you from doing the things you want to do to reach your dreams. When you feel helpless and hopeless, don't define it as fear. Call it for what it is, helpless and hopeless. But know that you own the power of prayer. So use it. If you're praying and you're feeling it and not just saying the words, you know it makes a difference. You know you got your ace buku, you got your ace card. When you're playing spades and you're holding on to that ace, or if you play with the deuces or holding on to that deuce until you're ready to use it, your faith is your deuce. Hold on to it. But you got to know that it exists and you have to believe in it. Not just say it's there, but believing it and know that it's there. I believe in you guys. You got this. You can just do this. There's so many ways I can take this, but this was on my heart to share with you because so many of you are stuck. And what I'm hearing from many of you is that you're stuck because you're afraid of your next step. You're afraid of what to do. Power it down. And know that faith is always going to be there for you. So I want to end with, I have a new book coming out. I don't know if you can see it, White Girl Speaks. It's motivational quotes and so on. And one of the quotes that I have in here that says, sometimes the scariest thing about change is the thought of changing and not the change itself. Let me say that again. Sometimes the scariest thing about change is the thought of changing and not change itself. So it's that fear, the thought of having to change scares us more than the actual change that we can make in our lives to make a difference. That is key. Hold on to that. Don't let your fear paralyze your faith. Don't let your fear be stronger than your faith, and it can make a big difference. If you want to read more about my motivational messages, you can go to my website, dradair.speaks.com. That's DRADAIR speaks.com. You can follow me on Facebook. I put a lot of my blog messages on there, and that's Dr. Adair F. White Johnson. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, and all of that stuff. You can email me with any questions, dradair@gmail.com, or hit me up on Facebook. I'm on Facebook all the time. Or Twitter. I'm getting better with Instagram, but there's so many ways to reach me. I spoke from my heart today. That's all I had. And I hope it has reached and touched some of you. So before we log off, give me some love. Show me some heart. Ask your friends to check out the replay. It'll be up for 24 hours and then it'll be gone. But I have enjoyed it. Thank you so much. Charlie, you just got here. We're finishing up. But thank you for trying to be here with us. Certainly go ahead and check out the replay. Do I have any questions before I leave? I should have asked that a little while ago. But are there any questions you guys have? Okay. You guys have a great evening. Thanks again. You could have been any place else in the world, but you chose to be here with me. I appreciate that. Bye-bye.